Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good day to you all. It gives me great pleasure, both personally and as President and founder of the Arab International Women's Forum, to welcome you all today to our webinar session held jointly with our valued global corporate partners, Arabia Insurance Company, under the title, Advancing Women's Leadership in Insurance, Bridging the Gender Gap in the MENA sector. I wish at the outset to extend my deep thanks and appreciation to the distinguished Arabia Insurance leadership present with us today and addressing our session, starting with Mr. Eli Khoury, Arabia CEO, and his valued colleagues, Grace Doro, Arabia Chief Legal Officer, who's kindly moderating the session, and Serge Flouti, Senior Country Manager, UAE, who is delivering the closing remarks. I also welcome all Arabia members joining the webinar from across the region, and of course, all our valued AIWF members, partners, friends, and guests. Thank you all for being with us. I extend on all our behalf very special thanks and deep appreciation to our esteemed guest speakers joining us, all inspirational leaders in the sector of insurance and ESG in the UAE and the wider MENA region. We look forward to hearing from you during the course of the session, enriching our knowledge on the important subjects related to women's participation in this major and dynamic sector of the economy. Allow me to take this opportunity to say a few words about the Arab International Women's Forum. From its inception in London in 2001, AIWF has focused on the empowerment of women in the Arab region in all sectors, and always within an Arab global context. Important to share that our programs from the beginning were centered on the role of women in the economy, in the business sector, in finance, as entrepreneurs, as business leaders, with a recurring theme to many of our programs being on women as engines of economic growth in our region. This is why, for us partnering with Arabia to specifically support women in the insurance sector is at the heart of our wider mission and highlights the importance that we give in the AIWF to women's leadership in the region's insurance sector as an integral and key part of a growing Arab private sector. Distinguished guests, the insurance sector in the MENA region is positioned for substantial growth, driven by economic diversification, increased infrastructure investment, and rising demand for services as our private sector is expanding continuously. There is also tremendous scope for innovating insurance, with regional programs already in place to nurture insurtech startups and scale-ups that could transform the whole insurance sector. At the same time, the sector is navigating ongoing challenges from social and economic uncertainty, geopolitical tensions, and growing concerns about climate change and sustainability. Important for us all to note as well that the insurance industry plays an increasingly central role in supporting economic resilience, long-term stability, and inclusive development across the region. Coming to look at women's participation in this sector, we find that although women constitute a significant majority of the global insurance workforce, comprising approximately 66% overall and 66% of entry-level roles, their representation in leadership roles remains disproportionately low at this time. Today's panel presents us all with an exciting opportunity to explore the key challenges, the opportunities, and solutions related to women's advancement in the insurance industry across the MENA region. Before I conclude, I wish to cross over with you all to the United Kingdom to share some good news about women in the insurance sector. Recently, it was announced that the incoming Lord Mayor of the City of London, known, of course, City of London as the home for Lloyd's, the largest commercial reinsurance marketplace in the world, will be older woman Dame Susan Langley OBE, who has been in the insurance sector all her life. She will be the third Lady Lord Mayor in the long 697-year history of the City of London. The occasion will be celebrated in London in November with a huge parade in the city, with 697 women in the insurance sector joining the flotillas to mark the occasion. Dame Langley, who will be visiting the region, of course, next year when she is Lord Mayor, and we will hope very much to plan a meeting for her with our UAE and regional insurance women leaders, whom we are always very proud to celebrate. I thank you all for your kind attention, and I am delighted now to hand over to Mr. Eli Khoury, CEO of Arabia Insurance, for his welcome remarks. I wish you all a highly productive, interactive, and fruitful discussion. Eli, over to you.
Thank you, Haifa. Great news coming from London. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I'm truly pleased to be with you today and proud that Arabia Insurance is co-hosting this important conversation with AIWF. This isn't just a discussion about business. It's about the kind of industry and society we want to build. For me, this moment goes beyond a panel. It's an opportunity to reflect on how we lead, how we support one another, and how we create space for every voice to be heard, seen, and valued. I'm going to start with celebrating women in leadership. Throughout my career, I've had the privilege of working alongside many talented women, colleagues, partners, and leaders who brought depth, clarity, and resilience to every challenge they faced. Their contribution weren't just impressive, they were essential. And yet, we all know, recognition doesn't always lead to representation. The path to leadership is still harder for women than it should be. The reasons are complex, but the outcome is clear. We're not where we need to be. Let's talk about our commitment at Arabia Insurance. At Arabia Insurance, we've been asking ourselves the tough but necessary questions. Are we creating the right environment for women to grow? Are we truly listening? Are we supporting and acting fast enough? To honor our legacy, we must first acknowledge it. For over 25 years, women have played a critical role at our board level and across board committees, namely audit, risk and compliance, nomination, and remuneration. Today, 60% of our workforce is made up of women. But where the difference lies is 1/3 of our directors are women, 50% of our deputy directors, and 50% of managers are women. This level of representation distinguishes us from industry norms and reflects our ongoing commitment to advancing women in leadership. We've also bridged the gender pay gap. At Arabia, we reward and promote talent based on performance, never on race, gender, color, or belief. But we're not done yet. we're a work in progress, and the journey ahead is as promising as it is vital. Now, a personal aspiration. On a personal note, I aspire to see a woman leading Arabia Insurance, not as a symbolic milestone, but as the natural result of a culture that nurtures leadership in all its forms. Here, allow me to share a quote from a compelling McKinsey article on women in C-suite leadership. And I quote, "In today's disruptive world, leadership is not only about the business-related tasks that get results. CEOs also need to develop and exhibit personal attributes that make a lasting impact: self-awareness, humility, and resilience. Leaders with these qualities synthesize multiple perspectives and embrace a both and mindset over either or." Research shows women tend to score high on relational competencies, system thinking, learning mindset, and purpose-driven vision, exactly the human-centric qualities needed to navigate today's complexities. Unquote. This underscores the opportunity before us, not just to include more women, but to lead differently and lead better. What about today? Today's session is part of our ongoing commitment to do better. It's about listening to those who have walked the path, learning from one another, and committing to real, lasting change, not just in policy, but in mindset and culture. I'm inspired by the panel we've assembled: leaders who challenge norms, open doors, and show us what's possible. Their insight will move us forward, but it's up to each of us to carry that momentum into our teams, our decisions, and our actions. Thank you for being part of this important conversation. I look forward to what we learn together today, and more importantly, to the change we'll build together in the days ahead. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Khouri. Thank you, Mrs. Kailani. I will start by introducing our panelists. Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Grace Doro, attorney at law and legal counsel at Arabia Insurance Company. I'm honored to moderate today's important discussion hosted by Arab International Women's Forum in partnership with Arabia Insurance. Our today's session, titled Advancing Women's Leadership in Insurance, Bridging the Gender Gap in the MENA region, comes at a pivotal time. As women represent a growing share of the insurance workforce, leadership roles remain limited, especially in the MENA region. Today, we are privileged to hear from a distinguished panel who are actively shaping a more inclusive future for the insurance. We are joined by Raja Al-Mazroui, CEO of Etihad Credit Insurance, chairperson of the Harvard Business School MENA Advisory Board, and a celebrated Emirati women achiever. Raja is known for her commitment to innovation, digital transformation, and women's empowerment. Next, we have Rasha Muqayyid McClelland, the Managing Director at Howden Guardian Insurance Brokers. She is also a board member of both the Emirates Insurance Federation and the British Chamber of Commerce, Abu Dhabi. Rasha is a passionate advocate for leadership development in the insurance sector. Joining us as well is Raghat Hamad, partner and co-head of the insurance and reinsurance practice at BLK Partner in the UAE. With extensive legal and commercial experience, Raghat champions diversity and regulatory progress in the insurance industry. We also welcome Meena Sahib, founder of the Women in Insurance Network in the UAE. Meena has created a valuable platform for knowledge sharing and mentorship, promoting women's voices and visibility in the sector. And finally, we are joined by Yasser Akawi, who is the chairman and founder at Capital Concept in Lebanon. Yasser is a leading voice in governance, sustainability, and inclusive business practice. key themes in today's conversation. Let's begin our panel discussion. I will start with the first question to our speaker to help us explore the opportunities and challenges around women leadership in the insurance sector across the MENA region. Given your current role and background in the insurance sector, how do you personally view the evolving role of women in this industry across the MENA region? I would like you to share examples from your own work that reflect progress or persistent gaps. I would like to begin with Raja. Can you please start with this question, Raja? Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me today. It's a pleasure to join this important conversation on women's advancement in the insurance industry across the MENA region. As the CEO of Ittihad Credit Insurance and with the background in both financial, traditional finance and fintech, I've witnessed evolving role of women in this space, and I remain incredibly optimistic about what lies ahead of us. Across the region, we are really witnessing a cultural and institutional shift towards inclusion. While women already make up the majority of the global insurance workforce, the leadership gap remains wide, especially in the MENA region. In the UAE, however, we've seen a clear commitment to gender balance. At ECI, for example, nearly half of our leadership team is women, including risk, finance, digital transformation roles. These stories are not exceptions anymore. They are becoming part of a broader movement of change that is necessary. And I am so proud of Arabia Insurance right now with the numbers that have been achieved. That is a real example that the potential and the talent is available. We really just need to make the commitment to achieve the outcome, to make this a reality that we live today. Across every sector I have actually worked in, women wear the minority representation, specifically in the leadership roles. And there are many opportunities that can enable us to really take that step forward by upskilling. I think upskilling is very, very important to be able to capture opportunities that are unseen for women today. The second thing is really by networking and making sure that we are visible, we are included in the conversation, and we are present when these opportunities become available. And we don't shy away from, raising our hands or saying, I would like to take on this challenge. I believe in our region, we have this setup ready. It just needs to progress by taking initiative from us as women, and also embracing the ecosystem that is really supporting the further engagement of women in the workforce at all levels.
Thank you, Raja. That was so insightful. Rasha, would you like to add to that?
Absolutely, Grace. Such a pleasure being here with such amazing people, women and men. Eli, a strong message. I like the fact that you highlighted on purpose. It's very important to always identify the purpose in everything that we do, whether on personal life or professional life. And I salute you for your commitment and for the achievements that you're doing in the insurance sector. Excellent job. Seriously, you're definitely an example for many around the world. From my perspective, I do want to compliment what Raja has mentioned. I don't want to repeat what she mentioned, but I'd like to add on. It's very important that we address governance in the corporate world. Governance is what identifies us as companies, is really more of our DNA, and is how do we put the structure together of attracting talent from across the board, regardless of the gender, regardless of the age, regardless of everything. So I will talk about two things that I always consider: impact and relevance. we need to always question ourselves on a daily basis. What did we impact? Whether on a personal level, professional level, to our community, to our people in the company, and to our environment as well. What are we doing to address climate risk, as Ms. Haifa addressed in her opening statement? So things like that we need to consider. So two aspects, impact and relevance. In terms of relevance is how do we as executives empower our people, but also enrich ourselves and question whether are we satisfied where we are, or do we really need to advance ourselves to stay relevant? And I'll give you an example. A couple of months ago, I went ahead and I applied for a diploma in corporate governance. And everybody was like, why do you want to waste your time? You already achieved what you wanted to achieve. I said, no, it's about relevance. I do feel like I need to learn more to stay relevant, to offer more value to my company and to the community around me. Going back to when I started as a managing director, to give some of the examples that I've committed to empower women, I worked with my father for many years, and he decided to partner and to sell the company to Howden Broking Group, which is the largest private employee-owned company in the world. We in the environment in the UAE, and specifically in Abu Dhabi at that time, and that was in 2018, we did not believe that women can run businesses, especially in the insurance sector. So I was the first woman in the insurance sector to be on an executive level. And that's when my story started. Felt resistant internally, let go 50% of the manpower because of the resistance to attract the right people to help me with implementing the change, a culture that brothers and sisters are unified with one purpose, that is to make a difference. I take it to another level. I've helped to empower women where now 50% of the leadership in this company are women, and trying to find the balance. Another initiative taken in order to remove the victimization of women in the work environment, I started working with the people of determination. And those who are not familiar with that is a term that the UAE offered to the disabled people. Rather than calling them disabled, they're people of determination. So I started the first private sector to deploy the deaf people in the finance department. And before doing that, I remember we asked the family to be included in that journey, the Apple store to be part of that, to know how to use technology to communicate effectively with that person. That person has been with us for the last 2 years. He came as a bachelor. Now he's married with a son, which is an incredible thing. That person reminds us that we are human beings. That person reminds us that every person can do it if we provide an equitable opportunity, the right opportunity, and the fair opportunity for the people. So we want to remove that gender victimization in the way that we recruit. Externally, I've been working with amazing women like, MENA is here. She's incredible, and she'll tell you the story, to provide and to create an environment where amazing women can come together to share best practices, learn from each other, support each other, and so forth. And I'm not going to talk about that story. I'll let her talk about it.
Thank you, Rasha. Very inspiring, very inspiring. Your testimony is very inspiring. MENA, in 1 minute, can you please add to what was said by Raja and Rasha?
Thank you. Firstly, I just want to say I'm very pleased and honored to be on this panel today. And a big thank you to AIWF and Arabia Insurance as an insurer in the region that's really taking a step forward and taking the lead on this kind of an initiative. So I appreciate that. I agree with the panelists who've already spoken on this. I would identify 2 particular shifts that I've seen in the market in the region over the last couple of years. One is the economic shifts that we've seen, particularly in Saudi Arabia, in Egypt, North Africa. And what's happened when whenever you have economic shifts or economic development or growth, is naturally you're going to have an unintentional opportunities that arise for women. So with women being 30 to 40% already of the insurance labor market, but with more development and growth in these countries, and of course with Saudi Arabia, with women entering the workforce over the 5 years, you start to see more opportunities that may be an unintentional silver lining of these kind of shifts. The other shift I've seen over the last couple of years, actually, and I would even limit it to the last year, is I've started to see a lot more women being promoted to leadership roles. And one thing that women are fantastic at, and obviously we see that with the panelists that we have today, is that women are really good at supporting other women. So when women are in these leadership roles, they don't shy away from really taking that step forward. I can speak on MENA a little bit later on, but one of the things we found for the events that we've held and the platforms that we hold for women in the region in insurance is that our biggest champions have been women in the market. And without them, we couldn't have had the success that we've had. So these shifts are particularly important. And I'll tell you a little bit more about MENA a little later on.
Thank you, MENA. Before going to question 2, I would like from our participants, if they have questions, to drop them in the Q&A box. Question 2 is about growth and AI impact. From your perspective, what are the prospects for growth in the insurance sector across the UAE and the wider GCC? How might regional dynamics, economic shifts, digitalization, and AI influence women's leadership and inclusion in this sector? And I would like, MENA, perhaps you can begin for this.
Sure, absolutely. Another thing women are really fantastic at is, and maybe this is as a result of knowing that in order to compete with their male colleagues, they sometimes feel like they have to do a little more. So one fantastic thing that I see a lot of women in the market do is they're really, really quick to take up opportunities for upskilling and learning. So whenever I've seen learning and development programs happen at companies or in organizations, some of the first registrants are usually women. And actually at our events, we made sure to have 2 knowledge partners that were encouraging women to sign up to courses on insurance as well as digital insurance. So the shifts we're seeing with technology and the shifts we're seeing on AI require unlearning and relearning, particularly on data science, on digital transformation, on governance, as Rasha mentioned. All of these things become very important, and having women participate. The only thing I would like to add to this particular point is I'd like to see more organizations really take seriously and budget and invest wisely into learning and development programs to encourage and provide access to women in their organizations to be able to sign up to these programs.
Thank you, MENA. In fact, Ragad, would you like to continue to add a legal angle on this?
Yes.
It's important nowadays from legal perspective.
Yeah. Thank you first for having me today. It's a real pleasure. I would like to say that the insurance sector in the UAE and GCC is growing fast, driven by economic reforms, strong regulations, and growing awareness of risk. Digitalization and AI are transforming the industry, making tasks easier and creating new opportunities in technology, data, and compliance. This transformation, I believe, is also opening doors for women to step into leadership roles, particularly those with expertise in insurance, law, and digital tools. Government initiatives that promote women in business and technology are helping support to this shift. So I believe to sustain progress, we need to continue investing in digital skills and ensure leadership pathway remain inclusive and also accessible to all.
Thank you, Ragad. Raja, do you have something to add on this? It's important, and I know as a CEO, you are working on this also.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Just on MENA's point, since 2020 until today, I've actually did 3 certificates in artificial intelligence on my own. because it's really, really important, and it's shifting the whole world, not only certain sectors. Digitization and AI are revolutionizing how we underwrite, evaluate risk, and serve customers, creating new entry points for women in product development, data science, and strategy. And we can't ignore the UAE's role in artificial intelligence, as we are the leaders in the region and also globally in AI adoption. The recent announcement of the $20 billion initiative constructing the 1 gigawatt AI data center Stargate in the UAE in partnership with OpenAI really cements the commitment from the UAE to the whole region for AI. And this creates an excellent opportunity for women to upskill with AI, to tap into the future of work that is going to become available. The UAE is importing about 500,000 NVIDIA AI chips annually and investing in talent through institutions like Mohammed bin Zayed University for Artificial Intelligence. I did their executive education. You don't need to do data science, and you need to do the executive education as a leader to understand how AI is affecting your sector, what opportunities will arise, and how can we benefit from it to create a greater inclusion and also tap into bigger customer opportunities.
Great, thank you so much. We're now going to turn to challenges and opportunities. What are the key challenges facing women seeking to grow or lead within the insurance industry in the MENA region? What specific opportunities or policy recommendation would you suggest to improve women's participation and advancement in this sector? Ragad, maybe you can start us off.
Sure. Unfortunately, women face several challenges, such as the lack of mentors and professional network, cultural pressures, and few female leaders to look up to. Unfortunately, also some companies make it very hard for women to get promoted or to join leadership programs. To address these challenges, I believe we need to take several key steps. For example, set up formal programs to connect junior women with senior leaders, offer flexible work options to help women balance work and family, give women training in leadership and digital skills. Also, we can set clear company targets to ensure fair representation of women at all levels. Increase awareness, share stories of successful women leaders to encourage others. With these actions and ongoing support from regulators and society, I believe we can build a healthier environment for women to succeed and lead in the MENA insurance sector.
Rasha, would you like to add on this?
I'm going to talk about the opportunities because I do believe that we all have addressed the challenges enough. We know the solutions, and we're in the transition area where opportunities are there to make a difference. And that is, if you look at what the Ministry of Economy is doing right now, they're implementing the financial inclusion for women strategy. It will be launched very soon as we speak. There's another one that the central bank is launching as well by the end of the year. We're going to hear a lot of noises from there. We see a lot of things that is also driven by the private sector. And I do believe that having the digital platform that is, for example, one of them is Ubiquity that Lara has put together to bridge the distance and to keep the women globally and locally connected, and to share best practices and to learn from each other, address certain issues is also there as a digital platform. You look at what Raja is doing and socially, professionally, engaging with different networks, engaging with different initiatives. She's an ambassador for all of us. You look at what MENA has offered, and I will actually jump to MENA now to tell, so she can tell us about the WIN. So MENA, you want to share what WIN is about?
Definitely. I wanted to ask MENA about her the opportunities and the challenges that she may be facing. Yeah. Sure. So I think thank you, Rasha. On challenges, So I'm taking a little bit of a different angle with MENA, because we understand that there are obviously regulatory changes and organizational changes that can take place in the industry. However, my experience has been that that's been very huge and too difficult to tackle. The approach we've been taking is a bottoms-up approach, where we are looking to really empower and encourage and motivate the women on the ground to do their own self-advocacy. So actually, on to Raghad's point, there is actually a platform for the women in the insurance industry today. It's a mentorship platform. We already have 50 members, where it's a matchmaking program between junior women and senior women in the industry. And here we have Rasha as one of our mentors. I'm a mentor. I'm also a mentee. So what we do is we match women up with other women in the market, where you can really get mentorship on any topic you like. It could be technical, it could be about underwriting, or you want to learn about claims, or it could be something a little bit more, centered around emotional intelligence or social intelligence or what have you. The cultural challenges, to answer your question, Grace, I still see is the major challenge, not only unique to the Middle East, but it is a challenge, because I myself, from my experience, have seen, job interviews where HR teams have kind of stood and walked away and said, you know what, this candidate was fantastic, but she just got married, she'll probably get pregnant soon, or she already has a couple of kids, how much time will she really be able to dedicate the time needed for this job? And this is the kind of mentality that is so difficult to reverse or to redesign, right? So the approach we want to take is to provide, and what we do with MENA is really we're providing spaces for women to be able to support each other. So leaders like Rasha, like Raja, like Raghad, like yourself, provide spaces where you can have the right networking opportunities. Because the other thing we need to also really address in this conversation is that we are seeing a lot of expat women, or a lot of women who are maybe a little bit more vocal or more comfortable being vocal. They're the ones that are often getting these leadership roles. When I go to Saudi Arabia and I see such brilliant women, but women who are a little bit more culturally shy and don't really feel comfortable speaking to their male manager, or raising their hand for every project. These are the kind of women we want to work with and encourage. And really the only way to really kind of allow them to advocate for themselves is to give them access to women who can then be able to really encourage them and give them the tools on how to really build that kind of confidence for those kind of difficult conversations they need to have.
Great, thank you, MENA. And now, before moving to the ESG integration, I would like Raja to give a closing comment on leadership pipeline development, if she can.
Absolutely. We are at a critical inflection point, not only for the insurance sector, but for women leadership in the MENA region. If we align policy with innovation and culture, we can really ensure that women are not just included in the future of the industry, they are leading it and creating space for more participation from the region. Mentorship is crucial, but also accelerators with industry-based KPIs that would match the new talent or the developed talent with potential opportunities is what will make that change. I have been through a lot of mentorship programs and I've met a lot of amazing talent, but really without that outcome of matching them with potential placement, we will still be where we are.
Thank you so much. Now we are moving to the ESG integration, and I have a couple of questions for Yasser. How can insurers integrate gender diversity into ESG strategies, especially social and governance, Yasser?
Thank you, Grace, and thank you. What an interesting panel.
Indeed.
Yeah, I mean, this is most probably one of the most important topics that need to be addressed and hasn't been addressed enough. So thank you for giving it the importance it deserves. It's very important to point out that companies around the world have acknowledged, the importance of integration, environmental and social considerations into how companies sustain their businesses, how they capture value, and how they grow value through time. And we have to really look at it from this perspective. An insurance industry has a very peculiar role in all this because it carries three hats. The first hat, of course, is the internal one, is making sure that women achieve, women are given the role that they should play. In other words, to unleash the power of women. Companies like Arabia Insurance, like other respectable insurance companies have achieved their goals. The second role insurance companies have is to mobilize capital, to mobilize private capital or capital to sustainability. This also means it's an underlying responsibility in their investment strategy to make sure that the money is going to companies that are worthy of this investment. The third one is to mitigate the ESG risk in their portfolios. What does it mean? It's beyond risk and beyond just analyzing environmental and social risks within the insurance portfolio, but it's a responsibility in helping your portfolio companies or your clients, corporate clients, to integrate ESG. In the context of this webinar, this includes the role of women and mitigating women's role. So, okay, the insurance industry has been outperforming, since it's a service industry and it's FI, it's outperforming other industries like agro industry or manufacturing. Yeah, and this is exactly where the weaknesses are, and this is exactly what the insurance industry is expected to do. Is what role is the insurance industry going to do with its corporate clients in order to promote, build capacities, and expedite ESG integration within the client portfolio, within the investment portfolio, and definitely while continuing ESG integration in their own operations.
Thank you very much, Yasser, for shedding the light on ESG integration into.
Allow me to add one thing, one good news.
Yeah, sure.
And this is very important because it's at the heart of what we are all trying to do. We're trying to create value through time, isn't it? Right? Whether from our data, since at the expense of sounding obnoxiously pretentious, we were one of the oldest companies that have been engaged in ESG for the last 14 years. And our data reveals that women-led businesses are outperforming other businesses, and definitely the ESG integration is also being led by women. And this is excellent news. And these companies, in terms of enterprise value, have been achieving at least 20 to 30% premium to the enterprise value of the companies that they operate. So this is a great incentive. It demonstrates the role of women and the importance of women of creating value and in capturing value, and in, of course, in their respect to their fiduciary duties, who seem, to respect them sometimes more than men. I'm being very politically correct, but it has to be said.
Okay. Now, from your perspective, how can insurers make gender parity a driver of long-term value from ESG perspective and your perspective? Yasser, you are muted.
Oops, sorry. When BHR, the United Nations Principles for Business and Human Rights, when SDGs were created, UNGC, and all what has been driving, if you want, these efforts since 2011, 2012, they elevated the disrespect of business and human rights guiding principles to human rights violations. In other words, when you employ an underage child, it's not illegal or a regulatory. You are depriving the child from a human right, which is access to education. When you pollute the river, you are basically depriving people from a human right, which is access to clean water. In the same token, and we have to be very careful about it, when you deprive women from their I don't say dignity, but from their right to access to fair jobs, to access to their ability to make money or to make a living, or when you deprive women from achieving their potential, this elevates human rights. Let's make it clear to everybody. Here we're not talking about looking good. We employ women. It's 50% or more than 50%. We go, we celebrate it. It's again, as Eli said, it's not ceremonial. This is much deeper. It has much more deep meaning. We're talking here, if we deprive women from their rights, it's a human rights violation. We have to get it clear and loud once and for all.
Thank you. And now I thank all our leader speakers for those engaging and inspiring perspective. And we now move to the audience Q&A. I will start by, we have, I guess, one question in the Q&A box, and I will start with the question, and it's free for who you want to respond to this question. From Ms. Rasham Sallam. Wonderful representation of the diversity at the insurance sector. Adding on what MENA said of women supporting women, I'm not working in the insurance. However, as an external viewer, how such diversity and inclusivity affected the insurance policies offered to women as consumers. Is there any examples? And when women's health would be accepted and covered in some insurance offered policy? She hopes that her question is clear, and please, maybe Raja can start by answering this question. Would you like me to repeat, Raja?
No, I have the question. I can see it. So I'm looking at diversity and inclusion, honestly, from the corporate side to make sure that we have enough women representation across all functions, because these women, and honestly, since I have joined the Ittihad Credit Insurance and I have been participating in the trade credit insurance part of the business, I realized that there was a majority representation from women in trade credit insurance, which was honestly surprising for me, coming from fintech and from financial services. However, as mentioned earlier, these representations at the lower grades within those organizations. And the issue is really, how do we progress women from those levels, because they could have been in those levels for multiple years, but they never got the chance to really progress and grow within the organization. So the policy changes that we are advocating, and also opening those opportunities and making sure that we have enough candidates for those opportunities is what we are pushing for from an inclusion perspective and from equity perspective. With regards to the insurance services as a consumer, I think maybe someone else can take this, because in trade.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Rasha, because she's a member of the Emirates Insurance Federation, and maybe she can help in answering also.
Yeah.
I like to address things in a very simple manner. So diversity and inclusion is mainly to elevate governance in the working environment and how that projects externally. So everything that you do internally projects externally. So what are you doing internally? You're elevating good governance in terms of respect people who are different. For example, I don't want women to be like me in the work environment. You want to have diverse work women as well. You want to have someone who is calm, detail-oriented, someone who's a people-oriented person. Very different people coming together with respect, complementing one another to create value, to have respect, and to have a positive impact internally that projects externally. When we talk about consumer, again, is part of that, how we complement each other, how this diverse talent can come together to create relevant, intelligent, and, ROI is not only return on investment. It's back to sustainability, is the triple bottom line, which is people, planet, profit. And to create sustainable businesses, we need to always come up with things that are relevant, original, and intelligent. That's my ROI. That's how I look at ROI. Relevant, intelligent, original, and intelligent solution to address the risk of today and tomorrow. Risk is evolving, so we need everybody to come together and really solve these issues that we are looking at. And you look at the solution that we're addressing related to climate risk. Parametric insurance is one of them, and there is a green-to-green credit insurance, and many amazing products there that is done behind the scene by women and men, brothers and sisters, come together to make a difference. This is in simple ways.
Great, thank you. MENA, would you like to add something?
Well, I'd like to address Rasha's comment on medical insurance, because that was a very interesting point, and it's actually it's a very honest point, and it's really very much a reflection of not only the gender cultural disparity that we see organizationally, but also from an underwriting perspective, right? And a claims perspective on how women's health is viewed, right? Obviously, medical insurance for women is going to be much higher than men's for the obvious reasons, particularly for married women. But it's a really interesting point, and I think it just really, just to make a point on it, I think it just reflects how deep some of the cultural perspectives on even how you underwrite your medical insurance premiums to then result in maybe more denials on women's claims. So I just thought it was a very interesting point. But we are seeing a shift there as well. There's a lot of femtech, particularly insurtech businesses that are starting to propel a lot of the new conversations on products, particularly in the space of what's it called now? I've forgotten, but on the giving birth, not giving birth, but women who have difficulty having children. Particularly in that space, we've started to see a lot of global new products being designed on that space. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Raj if she has something to add from a legal angle concerning insurance for women's health.
Yes, just to add like a general comment here. As a lawyer, I've seen directly how inclusive policies and supportive leadership can lead to stronger and more successful organizations. That's why I recommend always reviewing and updating internal policies annually to promote fairness and equal opportunity.
Great. We have a statement from Mrs. Manal Jarar. I don't know, I'm not being able, my connection, I was lost, that's why. Can you continue, Ragat, if you have something to add?
Yes, I just want also to say hi to Dr. Manal Jarrah. She's a success story also. She's a CEO of National Insurance in Jordan. And this is an achievement, in my opinion, in a very tough market there.
Thank you. So thank you, Ragat. You spoke my mind, because I wanted to thank you all for interfering. Thank you so much. And now, since we had a rich and meaningful discussion today, really, I thank each one of our panelists for their valuable insight. I now hand over to Mr. Serge Flouti for the closing remarks. Thank you, Serge, for being with us today.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you so much. Wow, what a rich and powerful discussion we've had today. I want to start by really expressing my deep appreciation to each of our panelists for your honesty, your insight, and your commitment. You've brought not just experience to this session, but true inspiration. And I know I speak for many when I say we're leaving today with a clear sense of responsibility and a stronger commitment to make change happen. I also want to thank the Arab International Women's Forum for being the driving force behind today's event. Especially you, Ms. Haifa. Your passion, your vision, and your work continue to create spaces where progress can start and grow. We are proud to stand alongside you in this journey. I'm sure you all agree with me that the session today has reminded us that advancing women's leadership is not a nice to have. It's not an HR box to tick or a diverse headline to chase. It is a business imperative, it is a social necessity, and above all, it's about fairness and integrity. We've heard stories today of resilience, of barriers overcome, and of systems still in need of change. But we've also seen that change is possible when there is intention behind it, when leadership is willing to listen, when organizations move from awareness to action. At Arabia Insurance, we see this as part of a larger journey, one that doesn't end with a panel or a pledge, but continues with every decision we make on how we hire, how we promote, how we support, and how we empower people to thrive. For me, the biggest takeaway is this: the future of our industry depends on how inclusive we are willing to be. Real leadership means lifting others, sharing the stage, and ensuring that the next generation of leaders, regardless of gender, has equal opportunity to shape what's ahead. I believe that in the future, there will be no female leaders. There will be just leaders. And honestly, that's exactly where we should be heading. To everyone who joined us, thank you. Thank you for your time, your engagement, and your belief in this cause. Let's continue this conversation, not just in forums like this, but inside our companies, our boardrooms, and our daily decisions. Let's turn insight into action and ambition into impact. Until next time, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Mrs. Haifa, would you like to make a closing remark?
Thank you, Grace. I am lost for words. I have been enjoying every single minute and every single word that has been said. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart for moving the agenda for women's empowerment in this important sector, and that reflects actually across all other sectors. You are true women leaders and male leaders, and we're very grateful for the partnership, for working together, for learning from each other, and for supporting each other. And the journey continues.
Sure.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Arabia. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a
And
great
thank
day.
you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank
Pleasure.
you.
Amazing, amazing.
All the
Thank you.
best. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.